Sometimes it's just nice to have a paddle that does everything well. All-court paddles are the middle ground between control paddles and power paddles. Just enough power to get the job done on drives, serves, and putaways, but still enough control to make sure you're not accidentally popping up dinks or sending your drops too long. The all-court category is the Goldilocks zone of paddles and will suit a wide variety of players very, very well. So without further ado, let's dink straight into it. Before we jump into all 5 of these paddles, I just want you to know that I was not paid. There's no bias going into this at all. These are all just my personal takes on what the top 5 all-court paddles are in 2024. I do get a kickback if you use my code, of course, which goes to supporting the channel and helping me to upgrade my equipment and create more videos like this, but there is no bias, no exchanging of money, and these are just my pure thoughts about the top 5 all-court paddles in 2024. First up, at number 5, we have the Versix Vector XL, the current pick for pro player Jimmy Bouchard. The Versix Vector XL comes in at a price of $130, and you can get 10% off using code STSPickleball, making it just $117, which is a great price for how solid this paddle feels. When I first picked up the Vector XL, I honestly figured it would be priced around $160 to $180, mainly just from the solidity of the construction. The grip feels super premium and solid. It's a fully thermoformed Gen 2 paddle and just feels really solid through and through. The feeling off the face is a bit more rigid, so if you like a more plush paddle, I would pass on this one, but it has really solid pop, enough power to get the job done, and just really does everything very well. And again, at a great price. I was talking with the owner of Versix, and he is really passionate about utilizing the highest quality materials and offering them at a solid price. The Vector XL has held up really well after a couple months of solid play with it, so honestly I'm pretty impressed overall with the price to performance ratio here. The overall theme of this video is all court, so you're going to hear this a lot, but the Versix Vector XL doesn't totally excel at control, nor does it totally excel with crazy power. It's in this really nice in-between spot. I would say if I had to lean this paddle in one direction, it's an all-court paddle leaning a bit power. With that added power and pop off the face, it's still all-court, but with a touch more power metrics than some paddles on this list. But again, it's hard to beat the premium feel and overall experience at $117, so props to Versix for creating a quality paddle at a great price for our community. Coming in at the number 4 spot in 2024 in the all-court category, we have the Pickleball Apes Pulse V. The Pulse V comes in at a price of $199, and as always, you can get 10% off using code STSPickleball, making it $180. Honestly, it's really interesting the tech and the research and development that went into the Pulse line of paddles as a whole. So first off, it's essentially a Gen 3 paddle, but I wouldn't think of the Pulse series as the same style of Gen 3 as the other extremely power-oriented Gen 3s we have seen this year. This is Gen 3 done in their own unique way. They widened the edge foam around the perimeter, which gives it a larger sweet spot than traditional Gen 2 paddles, and then they actually added a ring of carbon fiber around the perimeter that again widens the sweet spot and gives it far less of a dead feeling outside of where the sweet spot would traditionally be. The spin is really solid on all of the Pulse paddles, the control is there, the forgiveness is definitely there with the huge widened sweet spot, and the power and pop are very solid. I don't really have anything negative to say about the Pulse series other than the price, but I do think given the tech implemented here, I would personally feel like it was money well spent for $180. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Pulse S from Pickleball Apes, the hybrid version in the new Pulse series. It comes in at the same price as before, so we don't need to repeat all of that. The fact that we see 2 of the Pulse paddles in this video shows that these are some top contenders this year in the paddle space. Pickleball Apes has done extremely well with these paddles, and they are standouts for sure. I have well over 100 paddles in my closet, and I am always getting the newest paddles before they are released, and both of these Pickleball Apes Pulse paddles deserve to be on this list for their own specific reasons. The Pulse V, the wide body version, has a larger sweet spot, more control, and a touch more pop. The Pulse S, or the hybrid version, has a bit more power, more plow through on the ball, and a touch more extension at the cost of a slightly smaller sweet spot. But again, both of these paddles are absolutely top tier and are very deserving of being in the top 5 all-court paddles of 2024 without a doubt. My drives, serves, drops, dinks, resets, everything feels so well-rounded with both of these paddles, so you really can't go wrong with either of them. I left off the Pulse E as it's solid, but that skinny elongated sweet spot is a bit funky, and I don't think it would do as well for someone looking for a paddle that does everything well, as sweet spot is and should be a high priority for someone looking for an all-court paddle in my opinion. Coming in at number 2, we have the J2KTi from Honolulu Pickleball. Honolulu has been on a roll this year to say the very least. They came out of nowhere and created some of the best paddles I've ever played with. The J2KTi comes in at a price of $155, and I have a different code for this specific model, so you can get 10% off the J2KTi specifically with code STS10, making it $139.50. The J2KTi is an all-court paddle leaning control. It's definitely on the edge of being a control paddle overall, but it does still have surprisingly solid power and pop metrics, which brings it into the all-court category. This thing is a drop, dink, and reset machine. It has a super plush feel off the face. Honolulu Pickleball has done a ton of updates on their peel ply process over the last year, and their current paddles have a crazy amount of grit, so the spin here is absolutely top tier. I actually clocked this paddle on average at 2237 RPM, which is just ripping spin. The J2KTi has a really nice sweet spot. The construction feels ultra premium, especially for the price. I mean, there's really nothing negative to say about this paddle. If you're looking for a paddle that does everything well, has above average power, above average pop, super top tier spin, and has all of the control that you need to drop, dink, and reset, this paddle is hard to beat and is an overall contender for the best paddle of 2024. And coming in at big number 1, we have the J2K from Honolulu Pickleball. So hear me out on this. This 100% Kevlar paddle comes in at a price of $155, and of course you can take 20 bucks off using code STS Pickleball, making it $135. But the J2K came on the scene after the 6-0 Ruby was released. I absolutely love the 6-0 Ruby paddle, but when you have a paddle that comes onto the market that costs significantly less, is also 100% Kevlar, has a premium unibody thermoformed construction with edge foam around the perimeter, and has absolutely top tier spin, it's hard not to give it the attention that it deserves. And the J2K absolutely deserves a ton of attention and praise. For $135, you get the biggest sweet spot in the hybrid paddle category, you get my current favorite all-court paddle, you get top tier spin, solid power, solid pop, and premium materials. I mean, it's just hard to beat. I feel like a salesperson right now, if I'm being honest, but people come up to me in my local courts and are always asking me about this paddle and that paddle and this paddle and that paddle and making it so complicated. And the whole reason I do this is to help create clarity around this oversaturated paddle market. If you're looking for an all-court paddle that has a bit more control aspects overall, this is your cheat code to success. I mean, I drive, drop, dink, reset, and volley better with the J2K and the J2Ti than any other paddle in the space right now. The J2K and J2Ti both cover everyone from beginners to seasoned pros. I would say overall, after hitting with them more and more, my updated expression of both of them would be, get the J2K if you're looking for that perfect all-court paddle that has solid pop, solid power, but leaning just a touch more control with a huge sweet spot, and get the J2KTi if you're looking for a bit more control, but still want above average power and pop. The differences here are fairly subtle, and I honestly still can't tell which one I love more, and I have a hard time putting either of these paddles down. I use them more than really anything right now, and I just can't say enough good things about them. So click here if you want to check out the ball machine that has been leveling up my game like crazy. Subscribe for more videos just like this one. Have a freaking wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.